Hi guys, welcome back to another video. This will be episode 4, A New Hope. I say that because episode 3 turned out about as flimsy as this subframe is mounted in the car. Finished editing it early hours of the morning, and when I proof watched the edited video, I must have fallen asleep or something because I didn't realise how badly I'd done it. So apologies for that. The bit that was sped up when I started to explain something, I actually ended up explaining that at the end of the video, so you haven't missed anything. I could re-upload it, but
ain't nobody got time for that.
Because I've only recently learned how to edit videos and use the software I'm using. So what I thought I'd do today is give you a little bit of a rundown of what I'm actually doing by way of the four-wheel drive system. And we're going to be taking this front panel off. The inner wings, I'll probably get them cut out this episode as well, the bits that I had to bend up last episode. The four-wheel drive system, actually before I go on to that, we've just passed 50 subscribers, so thanks very much. Thanks for all the support, all the kind words I've had. I really appreciate it, and it does help me out. So the more subscribers I get, the better. So if you can share the video, like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the good stuff, that would be great. Anyway, onto the four-wheel drive system. A couple of people have commented on me using an 01E gearbox. Normally this is transverse mounted for front-wheel drive cars in Audis, mainly the 1.9 TDI A4s, A6s, the 2.5 TDIs, which is what this one's out of. This has got quite a tall 6th gear, so I'm going to have to probably alter the diff ratio. I think the standard ratio on this is 4.1 or 4.11, and I'm probably going to take it up to 4.375 if I remember rightly. But I've got to see first if I can get the crown wheel and pinion from an all-road 2.5 TDI and just use the crown wheel and pinion. I don't think the four-wheel drive system comes off the same part of the gearbox. I think it comes off either the main shaft or the lathe shaft, and it comes straight out the back of the gearbox. I can't remember, but I'll try and find out a bit more info on that as I go along, and I'll cover that in another episode if I do end up having to do that. There is the option of running smaller wheels, but with the brakes I'm going to need to put on this car, smaller wheels aren't going to cut it. I think I'm going to have to run a minimum of a 17-inch wheel. I'll probably have to put 18s on it. The front discs I was talking about last episode of running 320mm discs, I may even go larger than that, and instead of using a 4-pot caliber I might go for the AP Racing 6 pots. If I can afford it, I may well go for carbon ceramic discs, at least up the front, because that's where I'm going to need most of the stopping power. The backs are going to have to be quite large as well to stop the back end coming around because there's so much weight in the back. But I'm hoping the car will be quite balanced so I won't have to go too crazy on the back as well. Going back to the 01E gearbox, as I was saying, it's front wheel drive and in a normal Audi. The engine is actually going to be in the middle of the car where the back seats would be, so this gearbox is going to be hanging out the back. That's the opposite way around to how the 6R4 was built. The original 6R4 rally car had the engine hanging out the back over the back axle, so all the weight was over the back wheels basically. And the gearbox then was in front of it, and you had the transfer case, prop shaft and everything up the front to get the power to the front wheels. So what I'm going to be doing on this, the 01E gearbox is mating up to this V6 engine. That is to get everything in the car and make sure that I've got enough room to do what I need to do, and then I'm going to sort out the four-wheel drive system after that. So the 01E is sort of a test bed for now, just to get the engine and gearbox in. I'll probably run the car and maybe take it to a private estate somewhere where I can run it and drive it at least around a bit to see that everything's okay, and suspension movement and everything is okay, and the drive shafts are going to be okay, and the lining up of them and everything. So once that's done, I can then sort out the front end and how I'm going to drive the front wheels. I am going to keep it a little bit on the secret side for now. The system is going to be switchable, so I'll be able to run rear wheel drive or four wheel drive, so I'll be able to do things like this. and then when I put it into four-wheel drive I can do things like this. So, on to getting this front panel off. What I have got is to drill out all the spot welds. As I said, I want to try and save as much of this panel as I can. So I don't want to just go hacking it off with a disc cutter or something. It's a good panel, someone's going to be able to use it. So I've got one of these, which I don't know whether you can see that properly. If you can't, I'll take a photograph of it and put it on so you can see what I'm talking about. Basically this has got a center point which starts the drill off and locates it, and then the outer parts are what cut the spot weld out. You can get these in different sizes, different lengths. The shorter ones are better. They seem to take a bit more punishment, and they're not as easy to snap because they're shorter. There's less stress on them then. So basically I need to drill out all these spot welds, and if you can't see these from there, I will again take a photograph and I'll just mark them out so you can see what I'm talking about. But I need to drill all of these out. They go all along the bottom, along here, they go through here as well, along there. There's a lot to drill out. Always make sure when you chuck these up they're very tight. Not to the point where you're going to snap the drill chuck, but just make sure they're really firm in there. You don't want them spinning out. One thing to remember when you're drilling out spot welds, you need to put a reasonable amount of pressure on, but not too much. If you put too much pressure on, you'll burn the drill bit out pretty quickly, and these things aren't cheap. I think they run about 12 or 30 on each. So, now that we've got all the top ones drilled out, what we're going to do to make sure they're all split, we're going to get a sharp chisel, smallish hammer, and we'll just chase down all the spot welds, make sure they're all popped off, and then we'll drill out the ones along the bottom. The panel should come off. Does help when bolt the wheels on. A lot of the times when you're drilling spot welds, you'll hear the panel creak as you go through this outer skin, and where it starts pushing into the next panel, so you know you can stop then. Right, so I can't get in behind this one because there's a bracket on the inside, so I'm going to leave that for now. I'll get all the bottom spot welds drilled out, and these feel along this side here, and then we should be able to just rock that back and forth and it'll break off. Missed one. Just that little one holding there, which, as I said earlier, is behind the bracket. So we'll get these drilled out along here and we'll get this panel off. I did say before that the Metro is integral construction. This does add some strength. It's more of a finishing panel than anything else, because there's a strengthener running behind this that goes between the two chassis rails, so I don't need to worry about taking this off. It just gives me a little bit more room to decide how I'm going to mount this subframe to the front chassis mounts. There's a couple of spot welds along here that I can't quite see properly, so what I'm going to do is take the chisel, just chase along till I come across one that's still on there, and then I'll be able to get the drill in place because I'll know where to put it. I'll drill that one out and then pop it, carry on along. There we go. One pretty decent front balance. Not actually too bad either. Might drill the spot welds out on this as well and take this out, because the roll cage is going to come down and replace this anyway, and take this out, but not yet. If I take that out, everything will go all over the place. And cut these out. Don't forget goggles. By the way, the reason this car's moving around so much is this jacking point this side has decided to collapse. There's a lot of rust in there, I'll show you a picture in a minute. But it's collapsed a bit, so it's just rocking on the two stands in either corner. So I'll probably trig that out with a piece of wood just to make it a bit safer. But at the moment it's nothing to worry about really. Can't quite get at this bit here, so I'm going to go around the other side, each side, and just finish trimming that off. So, should be able to get this to sit up a bit closer now. Right, so that's up as high as I can get it now, to where it's actually sitting against the frame. So I should be able to make a bracket now to mount to this piece of the chassis and then come across and bolt in here. Or I may be able to just come straight up from the bottom of the subframe to the original mounting points at the end of the chassis rails. That'll at least hold it in position, subject to measuring up and making sure everything's in the right place for caster and things like that. Once I've done that, I can make a bracket to hold the subframe in place, bring the front tubes down to meet this part of the subframe and get some bushes, clamp that in, make sure it doesn't move, and that'll how it will be mounted to the car then. Well, that concludes this episode. I've got something special planned for episode 5, which I'm doing this weekend. I'm going to be recording it. I'll be putting it up next week, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I do wish I could progress quicker with this so that you guys aren't waiting so long, but I'm trying to get an episode out every week, so it's going to be shorter videos, but hopefully it'll be a recurring thing and I can just keep an episode coming out every week. It is a bit difficult because I do have a full-time job, so I'm having to do this in the evenings. I'm usually away at weekends. I only end up getting about 3 evenings a week where I can do any work on the car, edit the videos and get them uploaded. So bear with me. I will try my best to keep everything going once a week. If not, it'll be at least once a fortnight. It just depends how quickly I can get around to doing things. Again, thanks for all the support, all the likes, the subscribes, the comments. It does make a difference. It does keep me going. Even though it's late nights, early mornings, long days at work, longer evenings on this sort of thing. And yeah, I'll try my best to keep it all coming. And I'll see you in the next one.